Hey everybody, this is James Hernandez. How's everybody doing? Hope you're all doing good, and welcome to another horror movie review video for this year's October. And today I'm going to be reviewing a prequel to one of the most terrifying horror movies that was based on a true story. That's right, today I'm going to be reviewing the Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning. Now, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning is a prequel to the 2003 remake of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and this film came out in 2006. The film stars Jordina Brestu, Tyler Handley, Doria Brad, Matt Bomer, as well as Arlie Ermey and Andrew Bernarski, who reprised their roles as Leatherface and Sheriff Hoyt. Now, in this movie, it actually centers on the origins of Leatherface, on how he became Leatherface in this remake's timeline, as well as the origin story of Sheriff Hoyt, played by the late Arlie Ermey. And while that's going on, we were introduced to two characters. We were introduced to two brothers named Eric and Dean, along with their girlfriends named Chrissy and Bailey. As they were going on the road trip, they were being attacked by one of those bikers that looks like the female version of the Terminator, and then they ran over a cow, and then all of a sudden Sheriff Hoyt shot the biker, and then he took them into the Hewitt house, and things has not been going so well for them, because it's just like throughout the entire movie is just like nothing but just like torture and horror, usually in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies, and that's basically the plot for this film. So I first watched this movie when I first discovered that when I heard that there was a prequel to the 2003 remake, I was really interested to see it, because if you guys have seen my review for the 2003 Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, you know how much I actually really like this movie despite some of the small problems I have, but it was still a really fun movie to watch. Even if you guys have like a strong stomach like I do, then it's actually one of those like greatest, one of my favorite horror remakes ever. Now, usually like with remakes, most of them had not been like very good, but there are some decent ones out there. So, and I would say the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is like one of those remakes where I actually really do have a good time watching. So when I heard there was a prequel, I wanted to check this out, and I first watched it when it was on TV. I recorded it on cable, and then I watched it, and then I got the movie on Blu-ray right here. And now that I watched the Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning, what are my thoughts? I thought it was actually a pretty decent remake. Now, I would say that it's not nowhere near as scary as the 2003 remake is, but it still has some like terrifying scares and really some uncomfortable moments that you would actually see from a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, especially from the original that came out in the 70s, which was banned in many countries because of how despicable it was. Now, here are the things I really like about this movie. I want to talk about Andrew Bernarski as Leatherface. Now, much like in my review for the 2003 movie, Andrew Bernarski as Leatherface, I think he did a good job as being like one of the most terrifying human killers that you would ever seen in a horror film. And if you thought him from the 2003 remake was terrifying, him in this movie, there are shots of him where he just looks so angry. Like when you see like his eyebrows and a look on his face, even though like his face was covered by, I don't know what kind of mask it was. He wasn't wearing the human skin mask just yet, but he was like wearing like a mask that was like covering his mouth, which I think it kind of looks like a gas mask or something. I'm not really sure, but the shots of him actually makes him look like a menacing foe. And when he like kills, he is like pretty much as brutal as like some of the other slasher villains like Michael Myers and even Jason Voorhees. And he does not play around. And I really like his origin story in this timeline, that he was born and then he was found in the garbage and then he was raised by the Hewitts, and that is where he becomes like this skin like wearing killer with a chainsaw that just like kills people and even like serves people as food for dinner, which it was so disgusting. So, but Andrew Bernarski, I do think he did a very good job playing, Leatherface, just like how he did in the 2003 remake. Now, the next character I'm going to be talking about, just like in my last review, is a show stealer, Sheriff Hoyt, played by the late Arlie Ermy. Rest in peace, sir. Now, this guy, much like in my review for the 2003 movie, this guy is so sick and he's so over the top, and you can tell that that Arlie Ermy actually had a lot of fun playing like one of the most like toughest, one of the most like screwed up characters that you have ever seen in movies. Like I'm talking about the same guy who was in Full Metal Jacket. And the one thing I actually forgot to mention on my 2003 review is that did you guys know that Arlie Ermy also did the voice of Sarge from Toy Story? If you guys did not know that, you should definitely do the research of like what movies that he's been doing in his life. And when I was rewatching Toy Story and I listened to his voice, and I was like, that guy sounds so familiar. And then it turns out that is Arlie Ermy, way before he actually plays like one of the most like sick, twisted characters in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. And what's really interesting about his character is that in the beginning of the movie, he's not really a sheriff, because what happens is that when the other sheriff comes to the Hewitt house, he was talking to Hoyt, which his real name is actually Charles. So he basically took him with him when he went in the car just to like arrest Leatherface. And then the cop did something so stupid that he actually left his shotgun in the car in order for him to confront Leatherface. But then Hoyt actually came, and what he did, he shot the guy in the face. And then he says this line in this movie.
Shit, I just killed the whole fucking sheriff's department. Damn, I wonder what that felt like.
Yeah, you can tell like how twisted and how sick this guy is. And he's not really the sheriff. So after when he shot him, what does he do? He steals all of his clothes and he actually dressed himself as the sheriff. And then he was like, oh, check me out. Now I'm the real sheriff in town. So yeah, like Sheriff Hoyt is just like, he's actually like just a normal guy who's not really a sheriff, and he just like took the sheriff some clothes after he just killed him, just like how Agent 47 from Hitman pretty much did, like when he kills his targets and then he just like steal all their clothes to disguise himself so he won't get caught or anything. But yeah, Arlie Ermy, I do think he is like, I think he did a very, very, very good job playing like one of the most scariest characters in horror movies that isn't really the main villain in any of these horror films, especially in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre universe. And he is just so twisted, and he is just such a sick man. And every time, like when Sheriff Hoyt was like torturing like the four characters, and well, not technically four, like three characters, but until four later on. It just makes me think of Reggie from Strays on how he says to Doug, like he says here.
You were a bad man. Bad man. Bad man.
Yep, that's what I actually said when I look at Sheriff Hoyt while watching this movie. He is a bad man. A bad man. Bad man. All right, anyways, so now as for the rest of the characters, we were introduced to Eric, Dean, Chrissy, and Bailey. Now those are the only four main human characters in this movie, and I feel so bad for them because they actually did not like survive throughout the entire film. Like after when Sheriff Hoyt took Eric, Dean, and Bailey to the Hewitt house, except for Chrissy, because Chrissy actually managed to hide in the grass after they got into an accident. And then I don't know how Chrissy did not even get hurt, and how she was able to like fly through the out of the car. It's just so weird. Like it just never shows us like, so did she actually just like did the Supergirl or Superman pose and just be like, oh, I go out of the car while in the accident or something? It's really odd. But anyways, let's get back to the the characters about like how they've been going through. So yeah, like when they were being tortured, like not just by Leatherface but also Sheriff Hoyt, like it's just so hard to watch. And there are moments where I was just like, oh my God, I don't know if I can watch the entire film. It's not like with the 2003 Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake where I pretty much like got through the entire film when I was rooting for Jessica Biel to escape from Leatherface and rescue the baby from the Hewitts. But in this one, it's so hard to watch because Dean was being tortured by Sheriff Hoyt to make him do push-ups, and then he uses his weapon. I forgot what it's called, but he actually was like beating Dean so many times when he has to make up to like 20 push-ups, while Eric was being hanged, and then Bailey was being taken care of by this really sick looking grandmotherly character, and she was like, "Oh, everything's gonna be okay. It's such a beautiful girl," and I was just like, "What the hell am I watching? Like what?" So then, like, as soon as they were able to escape, they were not so lucky because of like as soon as after when Eric freed himself, he rescued Bailey, and then Bailey actually was about to drive away, but then Leatherface actually teleports out of nowhere, and he just like yanked her out of the car with his meat hook, and I was just like, oh snap. And I was also questioning, like, how did Leatherface come up so fast? Like, did he just, like, teleport or something? Or did he just use, like, his supersonic speed or something? I know he's not Sonic, but I was just like, did he just come off, like, really fast? Or did he use instant transmission like Goku from Dragon Ball Z? Like, it's just so weird. And then Eric and Dean were not so lucky when they're about to being attacked by Sheriff Hoyt. So as soon as Eric tells Dean to run for his life, he was about to confront the sheriff, but then Dean was not so lucky because he actually stepped on the bear trap, and then Eric got distracted, and then that gives Sheriff Hoyt the opportunity to knock Eric out unconscious. And as for Chrissy, she actually manages to make it to the Hewitt house with the other biker, who she tells that that the sheriff actually shot his biker girlfriend. So he was like, show me where they're at. Tell me where he is. And then they were been going through from day to night where they found the house. And then as soon as we make it into the house, it was just also really hard to watch because of like Sheriff Hoyt actually ties up Bailey to the bed, and it was so uncomfortable. I was just like, man, this guy is so sick that I actually just want to like go jump right into the TV and just want to just like beat the daylights out of him, just want to save her life. And as for Eric, he actually got tied up by Leatherface, and then when Leatherface came downstairs, what he did is that he actually impales Eric with his chainsaw, and it actually kills him, and then he just cut like his face, and then he actually wears it for the first time. So that is where it's the first time you see Leatherface wear a mask that makes out of our skin. And when he wears it, I was like, oh my God, that is so gross. And then Chrissy was about to like escape from the Hewitts, but then when she hears Bailey crying upstairs, she was like, oh snap, I had to go, now I gotta go save my friend. And you would think that Chrissy is going to like rescue Bailey's life, but nope, because Sheriff Hoyt caught her right into the act, and he pretty much just like, I don't know, like knocked her out unconscious off screen. And then they were showing us the dinner scene, which is like something like out of the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Now the dinner scene was like not as uncomfortable or as scary as it was in the original, but like the scene with the dinner table scene was just like really hard to sit through. It was kind of like you're watching like a Thanksgiving dinner scene, but not in a good way. So then Bailey gets killed, and then Leatherface was about to take Chrissy downstairs, but then Chrissy actually got the opportunity to stab Leatherface in the back, and then she escapes, and then she actually jumps like out through the window, which is that's exactly like how the climax and the ending was in the original. So there was a chase sequence, and then Dean was unconscious, and then he wakes up, and then he gets his revenge on the sheriff for avenging the death of his girlfriend, and then he just like beats the crap out of Sheriff Hoyt, and that's where Sheriff Hoyt lost like half of his teeth, and that's where we got to see it in the remake. So people who was like, oh, Sheriff Hoyt's dead in the prequel? No, because we saw him in the remake, so it turns out that he did survive, even though he was laying down on the floor when Dean was beating the daylights out of him. So there were some like fight sequences, like when Chrissy and Dean were going up against Leatherface. Dean was trying to save Chrissy's life from Leatherface, and then Dean was not so lucky because Leatherface actually impales Dean with his chainsaw, and then he actually did got chainsawed. That's a bad pun. I'm sorry, guys. So then and then the ending of the movie ends with Chrissy driving the car, and then you would think that she was actually going to be tempted to be the final girl, but as soon as like she saw the police and then she thought it was like a sigh of relief, Leatherface came out of nowhere behind the seat, and he just like killed her with a chainsaw. And I was like, how did Leatherface get in the back seat? Like, did he just like teleport or something? Or maybe it's like, okay, so maybe Leatherface know where she was going, so he actually got there first. And then, yeah, so Chrissy is dead and the two cops were dead. And then the movie ends like with Leatherface getting out of the car. And he just pretty much had a long walk to back to his house while he was carrying his chainsaw. And that was the end. So yeah, that was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the beginning. I thought this movie was actually one of the most like, I thought it was a pretty good prequel. I do like some of the answers that we actually got of like how Leatherface became Leatherface in this timeline. Arlie Ermy is still did a good job playing Sheriff Hoyt, and his backstory also really makes him like one of the most like terrifying and really the most messed up characters that you would ever seen in a horror film. There's like tons of like other messed up characters, like not just from horror but also from like different all these like different type of like media and pop culture. But this character right here, Sheriff Hoyt, he's crazy. And Arlie Ermy, I do think that he deserves to be nominated at the Horror Movie Awards for being like one of the greatest side characters in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. I think he did like a great job with his performance. So now, in terms of like problems I had with the film, I kind of felt like the movie was a little too short, and there are times where I kind of felt like not only it feels like a prequel to the 2003 movie, but it also feels like it kind of feels like a pilot. You know, something like when you made a movie where it was kind of like a pilot to a TV show and then it became a TV show. So when I was watching this movie, I was like, why is the plot like so short? It's like, I know they want to get into the horror and they want to get into like the torture scenes really quick, but I felt like the characters don't really have that much development. But don't get me wrong, we actually do got some character developments, but I kind of felt like it was rushed. And I felt like that was one of my problems. The other problem I kind of had with the movie is that the movie doesn't really have the same suspense as the 2003 film. But on the other hand, like the cinematography and the tone is actually really good. It does stay true to the 2003 movie, despite that it's a prequel. But there are moments where I kind of felt like I was kind of like watching a different movie, and the tone for it kind of really doesn't really fit for a Texas Chainsaw Massacre film. It tries to be like something like out of like watching a film that is like that will give us like a total nightmare or something. And but to be fair, I actually really do like what they were doing, and I thought the cast was really good. Andrew Bernarski and Arlie Ermy, and the four main characters, I thought they were pretty good. There's nothing too amazing about them. They got some really good development. And I thought the ending was so messed up that I thought that that Chrissy was actually going to be the final girl, but it turns out that she's not. She was not very lucky because Leatherface, just pops out of nowhere. Like, I don't know how, like, did he either like teleport, or maybe he knows that Chrissy was gonna go to the car and he got there first. So yeah, I think that's like one of my only problems I have with the movie, is that I felt like it was a little too short. It kind of feels like a pilot, and there's not much like of a character development. I wish there was more development between the four main characters that actually were being killed and tortured by Leatherface. But the rest of the prequel, the rest of the movie, I just think it's pretty good. I wouldn't say it's great, but it's definitely nowhere near as good as the 2003 movie. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give the Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning a solid 7 out of 10. I think it's good, but it's not great. There are some problems with it, but the stuff that is good that does stay true to the 2003 movie, I thought it was really good. So I would say like if you guys want to like see like a prequel to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, if you want to know like about this remake timeline of how Leatherface became Leatherface, and if you really also want to watch a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie where Arlie Ermey was like so over the top and becomes like the show stealer of being one of the most like sick and twisted, messed up characters in movies history, then this is the movie for you. The only thing I do not recommend is like if you guys don't have a strong stomach like I do, then I don't recommend this the Texas Chainsaw Massacre to everybody. If you like cannot even eat your food with the dinner table scene, ugh. But yeah, so yes, a 7 out of 10 I'm gonna give it to this movie. It's good, but it's not great. But I still liked it. So folks, that is my review for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the beginning. Now, I would love to hear from you guys. What did you guys think of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the beginning if you guys seen this? Did you guys like it? Did you guys hate it? Did you guys think it's a good prequel? Did you prefer the 2003 remake more? And what is your most and least favorite Texas Chainsaw Massacre film? Comment below, let me know. And also, in case if you guys are new here, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and turn on the notifications when I make future videos. And stay tuned for the next horror movie I'm going to be reviewing is Paranormal Activity. That's right. So I'm talking about a found footage movie. Now I know found footage movies is not technically for everyone, but there are some audience that really does have a thing for found footage films. So I'm going to be reviewing Paranormal Activity after this. So anyways, that's all I got to say for today, and I hope you guys enjoy my review for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the beginning. I'll see you guys next time, and take good care of yourselves.
From 1969 to 1973, the Hewitt family murdered 33 people across the state of Texas. To this day, their killing spree is universally considered one of the most notorious and perversely sadistic crimes in the annals of American history. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre.